So today I have my takeaways from day dose at Big 12 Media Days, and all that's coming up after the bumper.
What do you mean you don't subscribe to my son's YouTube channel?
Mama, no!
Just snap the damn ball, RJ.
What's up, kid folks? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. So it's OU related, college football related, sports related. We have a good time, and today I want to give you my takeaways from Big 12 Media Day, day number 2, and for me, I thought it was a lot of fun. I got to talk to a lot of different people. Reggie Bush was on my show today, as well as Matt Leinart was on Coach Jones's show today. So we got the USC 55-19 beat 'em down covered. I asked Reggie Bush about it. You can go and listen to the Animal Archive hour where I talked with him at length about it, what he thinks about OU football. But the big thing to come out of that show was talking to Sam Hard G. Ellinger, where I asked him about Hard G. I asked him about Baker Mayfield's comments. I asked him about his accuracy. I asked him about what he does for fun. Turns out he gave up Lent, or not, didn't give up Lent. He gave up Fortnite for Lent. You can go watch that video over there somewhere. But, yeah, you can. You absolutely can. The other takeaway that I had was Tom Herman is not here for your horns down. Okay, I'm going to read his quote because I think his quote is helpful here. Quote is, I think it's flattering that we're on so many people's minds that they continue to use that disrespectful hand signal. Ellipses, taunting is taunting. Whatever, bro. I mean, I get it. You rep the University of Texas. You're not into people throwing the horns down. You're not necessarily into anything that is not horns up, but whatever. It's taunting, penalty now, and it's kind of if then. So if you do it to the crowd, they're going to call it. You do it to the other team, they're going to call it. You do it very quickly to each other, perhaps they're not going to call it. I mean, I even talked with Commissioner Bob Bowlesby on my show today about that flag and going, hey man, taunting is taunting. Doesn't matter if you flip the middle finger to the crowd, for which he mentioned. I didn't mention that. I think that was a shot across the bow at Matt Diamond. But whatever. That was also one of the bigger takeaways that I had from the show. Other thing that I thought from the entire thing was, one, AT&T Stadium is awesome. Jerry World is awesome. This was a very cool venue, and I was very excited to be able to do my first radio show from Big 12 Media Days from Jerry World. That was astoundingly cool. The other thing that I wanted to tell you that I took away was Lincoln Riley is still out here defending Alex Grinch's comments for what he said to a recruit, and he kind of unpacked it in a way that maybe Alex Grinch could have, but just hasn't had an opportunity to do. But he said, look, he said a thing to a kid. The kid told it to a reporter that doesn't even cover OU, and then it gets out there in the way that it's out there. So all of that was bad news bears if you are an OU fan, but also a shot at the defense. And the kids who were there yesterday were asked about it, and to a man they were like, look, one, I don't necessarily believe it. Two, Coach Riley's probably better off answering that question because you were saying that about guys that were here. Neville Gallimore and Kenneth Murray Jr. in particular represent your defense. Those guys are likely to be voted captains on the 2019 team. And Alex Grinch had said at the time, according to Josh Eaton, who was still being recruited by Oklahoma to play corner, that he didn't have any NFL guys on the defense. Now, Riley says, hey, that got twisted up into everybody has an opportunity to compete at Oklahoma. Everybody has an opportunity to be good at Oklahoma. And of course, we believe that we have great talent. And his counterpoint was, do you think Alex Grinch would take the job if he didn't think that he had players to play with right now that he could use to win with right now? Well, yeah, I do, Lincoln, because you were on the podium yesterday talking about perhaps you got to be reasonable about what it is that you want to do as a program and what you think the benchmarks are for you as a program. Talk to Matt Campbell about that at length today, and you're going to hear from him about what he thinks is great about Alex Grinch and their relationship and how he can help him in the Big 12 if he helps him at all. But it was, look, we don't know what the benchmark is for us because we know that we want to get better and we want to build a sustainable program and we want to do it in the right way. So Matt Campbell is not pursuing a national championship. He'd like it. It'd be great, but it ain't on his agenda to get done this year. And I think that has been the coach's overall point from takeaways is, look, we control what we can control. We can't control the noise. We can't control the outside. What they're saying is we're trying to build the best football program we can, build the best foundation for winning tradition that we can, but some folks are just that much farther ahead of others. So this goes back to the Oklahoma City Thunder in a way, because I would say, look, if you don't want to win, just tell me you don't want to win. And I want to back off of that just a little bit and say, tell me what the benchmarks are so that we have something to reach for, because goals are important. But if your goal is to remain relevant, I'm not here to just remain relevant. I want to continue to build toward winning a championship, not a championship, the championship. And Iowa State would love to become a blue blood. TCU, Gary Patterson, they would love to become a blue blood. He said as much on the podium. Texas, they believe they're a blue blood. They won 10 games last year, so they're closer than TCU is, even as we continue to say Texas is not a blue blood. But all of this was really interesting to hear these guys talk out loud. The other thing I take away from this is once you get close enough to hear them talk at length, many of the kiddos and their coaches make some very good points. And I want to be able to service those points. But like I said, when Lincoln Riley's unpacking Alex Grinch saying, I don't have any NFL defensive talent over here, you can come play right away, I think some of that is spin and some of that is absolutely his job because that's his guy. That is his number two. He is the coordinator, so that's his number two recruit. That's his number two talent. That is his number two guy in the OU football program, so he absolutely has to have his back. And I think Matt Campbell can tell Alex Grinch a little bit about what he's getting into. And he didn't want to share a whole lot about what they talked about, but I did want to show you this portion of the interview that I was there to do with him now. Well, to that point, guy that you played with is in this league now, Alex Grinch. I'm sure you've answered a lot of questions about that guy. But in particular, what it is about him that you know can help him succeed at a place like Oklahoma where defense has been such a problem?
Well, number one is Alex has been ultra successful with certainly, maybe not the elite player. And I think that's one thing about Alex. You go and see what he did at Washington State, and, you see his growth to get to that point at Washington State. And what he did there was second to none. And, probably getting more, at least knowledgeable experience a year ago working at Ohio State and not being the coordinator, but again, seeing how an elite program like an Oklahoma works, I think was probably really valuable. And so now you get that experience with that unbelievable leadership. I think what Oklahoma's getting is really one of the best coaches in college football today in Alex. And, Alex is a great mindset. I think he's a great football mind, and on top of that, a great teacher. And so I think he's getting, like I said, one of the great leaders right now in college football. And I think it's a huge get for Oklahoma football.
Has he reached out to you and asked things like, how do I get along in this conference? Any of that?
No, other than, Alex and I've got a great relationship. We certainly talk, and, Alex doesn't, I don't think, need my help in terms of that aspect of it. But, I think Alex is our relationship has stayed really strong. Two guys that played defense in the same defense together for a long time, and, I think got a really similar background on our belief system and how we run things and how we do things. And so, other than a great friendship, that's been our greatest conversations.
All right, that is it for me. Deuces.